Check, check, check. Unmute the house or check, check. You good?
Good evening. Welcome to the Planning Commission meeting of March 4th, 2021. My name is Vern Crow, and I'm the chairperson of the commission. The Planning Commission is a citizen body appointed by the City Council. The commission is empowered to make final decisions on certain matters, with those being appealable to the council. On other matters, the commission acts as an advisory role to the council, with the council making the final decision. You will have an opportunity to address the commission during the public hearing portion of the meeting. Your testimony is appreciated and encouraged. The commission acts from a written agenda. You will need to fill out a yellow speaker card and give it to the city staff if you wish to speak on an item. Copies of the agenda and the speaker cards are located on the table at the back of the room near the main door. At this time, please silence your cell phones. There are 7 members appointed to the Planning Commission, and at this time, I will ask the commission to introduce themselves and state the district they are representing, starting from my far right.
John Crow, Mayor at Large.
Tom Cole, Barrel District.
Good evening. I'm Ed Nyberg, representing the Choya District.
Warren Wilfong, Akatia District.
Martin Nowakowski, Yucca District.
Vern Crow, representing Cactus. And let the record show that all the members are here except for the vacant Saguaro District seat. The Planning Commission receives staff assistance and guidance from the Planning Division and the City Attorney's Office. Mr. Record, would you please introduce the city staff at this time?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we have each case has 2 or 3 different people that'll be announcing them. So I was going to have them, as they came up with their case, do that. And Christine Lavelle will be our first person. And Diana Figueroa is our secretary to the Planning Commission. And I'll let the other staff, as their items come up, introduce themselves, because they're not all.
Okay, that'll work. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak on an item on tonight's agenda that's not on tonight's agenda? Because we can't really take any action or discuss that, but if you're here and you want to talk on tonight's agenda or something that's on the agenda that's not there tonight, please feel free to say so now. No? Okay. Let's go on to the approval of minutes. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of January 7th, 2021, the Planning Commission's meeting?
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Vice Chair?
I would like to move that we table the minutes for January 7. Reading through the minutes, I don't think they reflect adequately the comments that were made at during the meeting. Chairman Hirsch and Vice Chair Lennox had specific comments that they made at the end of the meeting, and I don't think the minutes adequately reflect that. So I would like to table the minutes until we can get them amended to reflect the commentary from that meeting.
Okay, anybody have any other discussion on that item?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I kind of agree. I mean, we're here at the service of the public, and the public needs to know how our feelings are sometimes on how things are being held. And I think what Gary and Mr. Lennox expressed was very clear, and it should be recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Vaughn. Anybody else? Nothing else? Well, I'll entertain a motion to table the minutes of January 7th.
So moved.
Support? Anybody?
Second.
And I hear a second. So I do have a motion to table the minutes of January 7th. I have a second. And all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The January 7th meeting minutes are tabled. Let's go on to the February 4th workshop. Any comments on that? Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I would move approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for approval. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we'll move on to the February 4th meeting. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the meeting's minutes for February 4th. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Point of order. Chair, members of the commission, the agenda reflects the minutes of February 18th special workshop, but I believe the motion regarded February 4th, so just wanted to clarify.
Oh, I'm sorry, it is a workshop, yeah. So we'll need to amend that motion to say that the February 4th minutes are for a workshop.
Chair, members of the commission, no, my reference was to the motion that was on the table, which I think is for item 4C, for the February 18th special workshop.
Okay, it was not it wasn't a meeting. Did I say meeting? I'm sorry.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to put forth a motion to approve the minutes, Planning Commission minutes of the February 18th, 2021 special workshop.
Support.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second to approve those minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Mr. Grubert. Okay, Mr. Rickard, are there any withdrawals or continuances tonight?
To my knowledge, no, sir.
Okay, as there are none, let's move on to the public hearing. Now, if anybody is here to speak on an item of the public hearing, please complete one of the yellow speaker cards on the table near the main entrance. Then step forward to the podium and state your name and address for the record once you're called. I don't have any cards. Diana, do we have any cards? Okay. The purpose of the public hearing is to provide interested parties an opportunity to present testimony for the Commission's consideration. In doing so, we will follow the same procedures for each item that's on the agenda tonight. I will call the applicant number and the name of the applicant. Staff will present their report and answer questions for the Commission. The applicant will be given the opportunity to make presentations and answer questions for the Commission. Other persons who wish to testify will be asked to do so and answer questions for the Commission. The applicant will have an opportunity to close with closing arguments. Staff will be asked for a final comment on the application and procedural guidance, and I will then close the public hearing as asked for a motion prior to discussion by the Commission. Now, when you come up, you will need to state your name and address for the record if you wish to speak on an item, but please be brief and to the point and avoid repetition. I reserve the right to limit your testimony, and all exhibits that you might present to the Commission become part of permanent record and must be submitted for the file. We have 5 public hearing items tonight, and let's go to the first agenda item, which is GPA 20-06 and ZON 20-4. Mr. Rickard?
Yes, Christina Laval will give you the presentation, and then I know the applicant is here as well.
Christina? Take it away.
Good evening, Chairperson Crow and Commissioners. My name is Christina Laval, and I am a Project Planning Manager with the City of Glendale, and I will be presenting Paradise Enclave, GPA 20-06, and ZON 20-14. Okay, the request is made by John Froke of John M. Froke Urban Planning, representing Brian Matlock. The request is for a minor general plan amendment and a rezoning of the property. The minor general plan amendment is to amend the general plan from MDR 5, which is medium density residential, 3 to 5 dwelling units per acre, to HDR 20, which is high density residential, 12 to 20 dwelling units per acre. The rezone is to rezone from R14, which is single family residence, to R3 multiple residence. This is the vicinity map that shows the property location in relation to City Hall. The general plan designation for this property is medium density residential 5. And here is the zoning map. The property is currently zoned R14, which is single family residential. To the north, there is the patio homes are they are zoned R3. To the east is zoned R14 and A1, and to the south it's R14, and to the west it's R16. There is a aerial map that gives you kind of an idea of what is going on in the area. To the north is single-family patio homes, and it's zoned R3. And then to the east is just a large single-family residential lots. To the south is single-family residential, and to the west is single-family residential as well. Here's a street view of the property. The property is currently vacant, and it is abutting to the north. It's abutting the patio homes, and then to you can see as to the west, it's abutting a large single-family lot. And then to the south and to the east, it's single-family residential. This is a street view from 69th Avenue, just looking towards the property to the east. This is a view from Paradise Lane, looking towards the property to the north. This is a copy of the conceptual site plan, and as you can see, I will hopefully I can use this little tool. There will be a access off of Paradise Lane that will come into the site. This will be gated and will have a block wall, and you will be able to enter in from Paradise Lane and exit out of 69th Avenue, and all of the circulation will be interior to the site. It's difficult to see, but the outward perimeter of the property will be fully landscaped, and there will be open space and public space requirements. This is a conceptual drawing of what the house product may look like. Just note that the applicant is proposing a 2-story townhomes that will have garages and driveways. Again, this is another just rendering that will show that what could potentially happen upon the property. And again, this is one as well. So as far as the public involvement, we held 2 neighborhood meetings. The first was November, and the second was in January. We had the second meeting from a determination to be able to include extra members of staff and include additional members of the neighborhood. The public hearing notification was sent February 12th, 2021. The Glendale Star was noticed on February 11th, 2021, and the site was posted the same day. 6 comments were received, 3 in favor of the project and 3 in opposition. The 3 that were in opposition came late, did not occur till after the staff report was prepared, and all were by phone, and staff adequately addressed their concerns. The 3 in favor, you have an email in your packet that kind of expresses the patio homes to the north, that the neighborhood is in favor of the project. Okay, the findings are that the amendment is consistent with the policies and objectives of the general plan. The proposed amendment, it will further the public health, safety, and the general welfare of Glendale. It will contribute to the supply in the diversity of housing within the city of Glendale, and it improves overall safety and general welfare. The analysis is that the proposed multifamily development will allow for infill development and provide additional residential options in the general area. The rezoning request is consistent with the minor general plan amendment to allow for a land use designation of high-density residential 20. The applicant has met with representatives of the Peoria Unified School District, and the school district has confirmed that there are adequate schools facilities that exist for any additional residents. The Paradise Enclave rezone and general plan amendment are consistent with the land uses in the surrounding area, most specifically to the north with the R3 zoning district. The recommendation of staff is that the Planning Commission should move to recommend approval of GPA 20-06 as written. Additionally, the Planning Commission should recommend approval of ZON 20-14, subject to the following stipulations. That there be conformance to the Paradise Enclave minor general plan amendment and R3 narrative revised submittal dated December 23rd, 2020. That a dedication of additional right-of-way on 69th Avenue to provide a total half-width of 35 feet shall be made before building permits will be issued on this property. That there will be a dedication of additional right-of-way on Paradise Lane to provide a total half-width of 35 feet before building permits are issued for any development on the property. That all half-street improvements on 69th Avenue and Paradise Lane adjacent to the site must be completed with the development of the property. A right-of-way abandonment shall be processed for all interior streets. Gated driveways will require a turnaround area. All overhead utility lines, including communication lines and electric lines less than 69 kV or adjacent to the site, shall be undergrounded as part of this project. And then the current plat on the property shall be vacated, and a one-lot subdivision shall be approved and recorded on the property to remove the 21 recorded lots. That concludes my presentations. I will be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Commissioners, any questions for Ms. Lavelle?
Sure.
Commissioner Nowakowski?
Can you tell me what is the proposed number of dwelling units? Is it 69 as on the certification of adequate school facilities sheet that was received January 19th?
Yes, it is. That is the proposed.
Okay, on the conceptual site plan, it shows 70. Just wanted to make sure those are consistent before it goes to council. And then also,
Oh, sorry.
Development standards, it's saying northern perimeter setback, and I believe that's where the condos are, you mentioned, is 30 feet, while the southern, eastern, and western setback is 40 feet. Was there a reason why? It seems like condos are more densely close together, and so you're closer than the others. Just wondering why that was 30.
Yes, so the answer to that is that the applicant is proposing a larger setback along the front property line. This is consistent with the R3 zoning district. So the site plan has been reviewed, and that the setback is consistent with the required setback for this district.
Thank you.
Commissioners, anything else?
Chair?
Mr. Cole?
Ms. Lavelle, I know it's challenging, and adequate outreach was done to the neighborhood, and it's challenging when folks come after the process to voice an opinion. Is it possible to know the nature of the three that were in opposition after the report was written?
Yes, of course. The answer to that is that there is some concern about traffic in the neighborhood with the single-family residences. And so staff expressed to them that there will be half-street improvements that will improve Paradise Lane and 69th Avenue. In addition, that during design review, the project will be re-evaluated again, and if a traffic study is necessary, that one will be performed. And also with that, the traffic engineer had a lot of conversations with the applicant prior to this hearing, and part of the reason why the access is they have one access in off of Paradise Lane and one exit out onto 69th Avenue is to try to mitigate some of the potential traffic problems.
Thank you.
Commissioners, anything else? Okay, would the applicant or applicant's representative please come forward, state your name for the record, and make your presentation? Welcome.
I think it's safe to take my mask off from this distance. Good evening, Chairman, Chairperson, Commission members. My name is John Froke. Reside in the Cholla District in Glendale. My office is in Phoenix, and Christina did a great job on the staff presentation. We've worked really hard on this little project. Infill sites, as they say, are always difficult. This has been difficult, just trying to get all the details worked out, if you will. I don't really have a lot to add. We've worked, like I said, really hard. We had 2 neighborhood meetings. We had the one around Thanksgiving. We had the HOA representative and a couple of other neighbors. It was a virtual meeting. The holidays came and went. We were asked by staff to do a second neighborhood meeting, which we did in January. Through the course of the public participation, we tried to take into account all of the statements or issues into consideration. Is there a possibility to go back up to the vicinity map? Thank you. This is perfect. So one of the challenges that we've had with Paradise Enclave is that for a site that's as narrow as this is and as small, and the map's a little deceiving because it may look like we have a square property. It's actually about half that site. It's shown on the zoning map. We're asking for zoning that's consistent with our neighbors to the north, the Somerset patio homes. We do have a letter or an email from the Somerset Patio Homes Homeowners Association. They support the project. The challenge with, one of the challenges with the site is there's a lot of off-site street improvements that we have to make to both Paradise Lane and 69th Avenue. When we were out posting the property over the course of a couple different weekends, just looking at the site and hearing from, we went out there, posted the property. Some of the neighbors would stop and ask, hey, are you affiliated with Paradise Enclave? Yes. Are there any questions that we can answer for you? There was a bit of a misunderstanding with the lack of infrastructure, and so what we had told the neighbors that did stop by, and we must have had 3 or 4 different people stop and ask us what's going on with the property. We will be building the east half of 69th Avenue. Some of the neighbors on the west side of 69th Avenue, between Paradise and Linda Sue Lane, thought that the road was just going to exist the way it is today. We're actually going to be taking the barricade down at this location. We'll remove the barricade and then we'll build what would be considered the east half of 69th Avenue. Similar thing on Paradise Lane, we'll be building the north half of Paradise Lane, and then the intersection, both Paradise and 69th Avenue are collector streets. Christina mentioned we've worked really extensively with the Transportation Department. We'll be building and increasing the width and the capacity of the intersection at 69th and Paradise. There's a pole that needs to be moved. I explained to one of the neighbors that we'll move the pole out of the way and when we widen the road. Subsequent to the property posting and the 2 neighborhood meetings that we had, we got a call from a neighbor across the street. There had been a lot of wind. There was some debris and such that had been blown out of the site. We went out at her request, well, not at her request, but in response to her statement, cleaned up the site a little bit, took a look at the property again, and that visit to the site rendered additional visits from our neighbors. Same thing, are you involved in the project? Yes. Is there anything that we can address for you? And so we've basically been consistent with our messaging, is that we want to be a good neighbor. We actually feel like this will be a really good addition to this portion of Glendale. It's close to Bell Road with the shopping, the dining experience, the employment that's on Bell Road. Final design will be determined at design review. Christina showed some exhibits on what the product might look like. Our neighbors to the north, the Somerset Patio Homes, they're all 2-story units. We're asking for a similar height, similar zoning to Somerset Patio Homes. As Christina indicated, it'll be a gated community. We worked really closely with the transportation staff specifically to align our gated entry off of Paradise with, I believe it's 68th Drive. It shows up on the site plan, and then the exit only on 69th Avenue is at Linda Sue Lane. So we do have a neighbor here in support, the Thompson household. He did not fill out a speaker card. If you'd like to hear from Mr. Thompson, he is here. He's been working with us and participating through the neighborhood work as an interested party. So if you want to hear from a neighbor, we have Mr. Thompson available for you if you have any questions, if you want to hear from the neighborhood. So with that, we appreciate everything that staff has done, ushering us through the review process. We are in agreement with the recommendation on the general plan amendment and the zoning stipulations associated with the zoning case. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Commissioners, any questions for Mr. Froke? Like you get off light tonight, Mr. Froke.
That's a nice change. Thank you.
Mr. Thompson, do you have anything to add? If you do, you need to fill out a speaker card and give it to staff. Nothing? Okay. Nothing to add? Okay. Well, in that case, I have no speaker cards, so anything else from anybody? Commissioners? Commissioner Nowakowski?
I really appreciate that the applicant is doing the right-of-way improvements along Paradise Lane and 69th Avenue before construction. I think it's much needed in that Granada Estates area and makes safer roads for the residents. So I want to thank you for that. It sounds like a wonderful infill project to me.
Commissioners? Commissioner Crowe?
Just to be certain, this is a fee simple property. This is not a rental project.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear
This
that.
is not a rental project. This is for sale. These are townhomes that will be then resold.
Yes, that's my understanding. Mr. Froke, is that correct?
Commissioner Crowe, Chairperson Crowe, Commissioner Crowe, we're working with a buyer. My client is the actual property owner. He lives in Phoenix. We are working with a buyer for the property. It's undetermined right now if they will be for sale or for rental. The exhibits that were represented tonight go with the zoning, go with the property, and again, we hope to bring forward an infill site that would be a benefit to the community. So undetermined right now if it's for sale or for rental.
Thank you.
Anything else, commissioners? Okay, I'll close the public hearing on case number GPA 20-06 and ZON 20-14. Do I hear a motion? And we're going to take these separately, is that right, Mr. Gruber?
Chair, members of the commission, that'd be my recommendation, yes.
Yes, we're going to take them separately. Do I hear a motion for GPA 20-06?
Chairman?
Vice Chair Nyberg?
I would move approval of GPA 20-06.
I have a motion to approve, and I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Chair will entertain a motion for ZON 20-14.
Chairman, I recommend to approve ZON 20-14 to the subject of the stipulations.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve ZON 20-14 with all of the stipulations in the staff report. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And the stipulations that apply to GPA 20-06 also applies to the motion and approval. Okay? Okay, the second agenda item will be ZON 20-17, and we will have a presentation.
Mr. Chairman, you have George Gillette
Mr.
presenting.
Gellert.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. George Gaylor, Glendale City Planning Staff. I'm here to represent item ZON 20-17. That's a requested zone change regarding the Terra Pointe planned area development. The request specifically is to rezone from SR 30, or Suburban Residential Zoning District, and A1, Agricultural District, to PAD, or Planned Area Development. Again, the function of that is to enable the expansion of an existing senior living facility. The applicant is Benjamin Graff, Quarles and Brady for Terra Pointe LLC. The property size is 7.2 acres. The location specifically is the northwest corner of Union Hills Drive between 53rd Ave and 54th Avenue. The address is 5330 West Union Hills Drive. Depicted on the map, it's roughly 8 miles north of City Hall. The Glendale General Plan depicts this portion of the community as appropriate for low-density residential development, 1 to 2.5 units per acre. This is a depiction of the zoning map for the vicinity, including the 3 parcels that together would make up the project site. Again, the current zoning of 2 of the parcels located in the larger yellow rectangle are zoned SR30, and the property to the east is zoned A1. All 3 of those parcels are part of the subject property. Everything north of Union Hills Drive in this vicinity is zoned A1. Everything to the south is part of a single-family zoning district. This is an aerial look at the property and the vicinity. You can see the development site, the lower southwest corner of the dotted red rectangle, which includes the entire subject property, as well as the developed and vacant properties to surrounding the site, on the north side of Union Hills. What you have to the south is a school. To the southwest is a single-family subdivision. West of the site is a church. To the northwest, north, and northeast of the site are a series of rural residential, residences, I should say. And the parcel immediately east along Union Hills Drive continues to be vacant at this time. A little better look at the site. You can see the existing facility on the south half of that, those 2 parcels to the west of the subject property, right at the northeast corner of 54th Avenue and Union Hills Drive. This is the site plan forwarded by the applicant. There are a series of access points to the facility, one at the northeast corner from 54th Avenue, as well as along the north side of Union Hills. You can see the primary access to the southeast corner of the existing facility. There are also 2 access points along 54th Avenue along the west side. Basically, they're adding on to the central portion of the larger properties, and that would be encircled by an existing access and parking area and landscaping improvements as part of the project proposal. This is a depiction of an elevation of the new addition to the site. To the right of the screen on top is the newer portion of the facility. To the left, I believe, is the existing part of the existing facility. One thing I would point out, I guess, as part of this is that as part of the district standards for the PAD, they're accommodating a roughly 40-foot cupola over a primary access point there to the center of the screen above. Just some quick photos of the existing site. This is from Union Hills, looking at the existing property. Looking along Union Hills to the front of the property on the top of the screen, you can see the primary entry. To the bottom of the screen, that's the southeast corner of the site at 53rd Avenue. And this, looking at 53rd Avenue once again, and further north along 53rd to the kind of the rural residential area. And looking southeast to the school site, to the bottom of the screen, also the ball courts directly opposite the facility on Union Hills. There's a single-family subdivision off the southeast corner and a church to the west at the bottom of the screen. And these are the streetscape improvements that are associated with the project site currently along 54th Avenue on the top of the screen. And at the bottom, just moving further north along 54th Avenue, again to the rural residential area. Public involvement, we, as is typical of any hearing request, we require the mailing of notices to adjacent property owners. In this case, we also had an online neighborhood meeting that was on January the 21st. Folks were invited by the mailing to participate in that meeting. I don't think we had any attendees, if any, as part of that. Site has been posted and the hearing advertised and postcards mailed out for the hearing this evening on February the 12th. As far as staff findings, we believe the applicant's request is consistent with the city's general plan. We believe that it provides a highly needed community service, promotes infill development where infrastructure is already available in the community, and overall is compatible with the adjacent facilities and residences. Staff is therefore recommending approval of ZON 20-17, subject to the following stipulations. One, development in substantial conformance to the PAD narrative dated December 7th of 2020. The narrative to be amended to clarify that any future multifamily use of the property would be subject to the further hearing action and to allow accessory offices and select personal services. No other uses would be allowed without further hearing action. The reason that stipulation is in there is that the applicant is designing a facility that would be accommodative of a use change in the future should the economy warrant that or the market situation. We're basically just acknowledging that and requiring that there would be hearing action in that instance. Number two, dedication of a 10-foot right-of-way adjacent to APN 200-25-004F to bring the total right-of-way on Union Hills Drive to 65 feet. And number three, dedication of additional right-of-way on 54th Avenue so that the public sidewalk and public streetlights are encompassed within the right-of-way. 25-foot half-street right-of-way dedication is required. The reason the 25 appears in red is that that's a correction from your staff memo. Since that was written, the applicant has worked through that with the Transportation Department, and they've supported the reduction from 35 to 25 feet. Number four is the right-of-way for 53rd Avenue is private, and ingress-egress easement shall be recorded along the eastern edge of APN 200-25-004F to encompass the existing pavement utilized by properties adjacent to this property and by properties to the north so that they and emergency service vehicles will have legal access. The dedication shall include the easement required for the placement of a sidewalk along the property frontage. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my presentation. Be happy to respond to any questions.
Gentlemen, any questions for Mr. Gellert? Wow, okay. Would the applicants or the applicant representative like to come forward and present their case?
Thank you, Chairman and members of the Commission. My name is Benjamin Graff, the law firm of Quarles and Brady. Our address is 2 North Central Avenue, Phoenix, Arizona. I'm here this evening representing Terra Pointe and Avista Senior Living. I do have a rather robust presentation prepared, but let me just make a few comments and we'll see if you have any questions, and I'd be happy to go through the full presentation, of course, if at all needed. One of the things that I would be remiss to not start off with, oh, thank you, is just to thank staff and Mr. Gaylord for all the coordination on this site. This was an exciting opportunity to expand an existing use from not only memory care, which you have there today, but to the assisted living option as well. Something to note that may not be obvious from the application is that the Commission has the advantage this evening of being able to have tried and tested this applicant over the last few years. And what I mean by that is that in 2015, this site before you was in great disrepair and under different ownership. Avista took over, purchased the land, completely remodeled this to obviously a great sum of cost, and created one of the best memory care facilities, certainly not only in Glendale, but potentially obviously in Arizona. We've been there since 2015. It's a beautiful site. We've received a lot of accolades from the city for what's been done, and we're excited to expand onto this additional 7 acres. And again, that will allow us to go from not only memory care, but to the assisted living. It'll allow us to go from 74 units to a total of 186 units. The other 2 items I think I'll point out, just which I felt were very responsible in this design, is that because we do have single family to our north in the A1 district, which could also obviously be agricultural, our rear setbacks exceed what would be required in C2 and really are laid into the PAD to provide quite a buffer. So at its greatest point, we have an 84-foot difference, especially when you look at that 1 40-foot tall architectural element. That element is at most 84 feet, at the shortest 72 feet away from the neighbors. And even our parking standards were pretty responsible because we're only required to have 75 spaces on this site. But when we're at full expansion, we're at about 45 employees today. When we're at full expansion, we will have probably a minimum of 75 employees. So we wanted to have that additional parking to make sure that we would have no burden on the community, no underparking. We'd be able to provide parking to the residents and obviously their guests as well. So we've had no opposition. Only correction to the record, we did have one member of the public attend our neighborhood meeting who wanted to ensure that our primary access was off of Union Hills, which it is, but that lady was not opposed. She just wanted to make sure that was the case. And with that, I'm here to answer any questions. Like I said, I'd be happy to go through the full presentation or answer questions of the commission.
Commissioners? Wow.
Chair,
Commissioner Cole?
maybe more of a comment than a question. Some of us have been around long enough to remember Hawaiian Gardens, and the fact that your client has developed this into a functioning property is really a nice addition to the community. I was concerned about the 40-foot tall architectural element. I thought in a neighborhood of single-family homes that really kind of, as basically a non-functional part of the building, it seemed to be excessively tall, especially since the code, I think, limits that at 30 feet. So that is kind of an exception. But I think you've answered it. Those setbacks are pretty significant on the back side. So I'd just like to voice my support based on that.
Thank you, Commissioner Cole. Anybody else? Good. Okay, thank you, Mr. Graff.
Thank you very
Appreciate
much.
it. Thank you very much. I don't have any speaker cards, but just to check one more time, is there anybody in the audience that would like to address this issue? Okay. Hearing none and seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing on case ZON 20-17. Now, do I hear a motion for ZON 20-17, including the four stipulations with the change in stipulation number 3 to 25 feet?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to move passage of ZON 20-17 as stipulated.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a motion to approve and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we'll go to our next agenda item, ZON 21-03. And again, Mr. Gellert, you have the spotlight.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. This pertains to an expansion of an existing apartment complex. It's known as Golden Lane Apartments. Once again, the case number is ZON 21-03. Specifically, the request is to rezone from R4 or multiple residence to R5, more intensive multiple residence district. The applicant in this case is the city of Glendale. The project size is 1.9 acres. This is a locational map depicting the location of the property, obviously, along the west side of 67th Avenue, somewhat north of Grand. This is right off the southwest corner of Alice and 67th Ave, also about a quarter mile south of Olive. General plan depicts this portion of the community as appropriate for high-density residential development, 12 to 20 units per acre. This is the zoning map depicting the property in yellow, as well as the surrounding properties and their zoning districts. What you see here is, simply put, everything south of Alice Avenue is zoned R4 and has been since the early 80s. The R5 parcels to the southwest and north of the subject property are zoned R5, and that zoning district goes back to about the year 2000. The R4 parcel, I believe, was excluded from that action, basically because it was part of a separate ownership. The applicant this evening owns not only the R4 property, but the properties to the southwest and north of this site. Areas across the street are zoned R4 to the east of 67th Avenue. aerial depiction of the property currently vacant at this time, as well as the site to the south and west and north. The exceptions being an existing, the Morningstar Senior Living Facility to the northwest of the subject site, as well as memory care facility located just east of 67th Avenue on the opposite side of the street. A little better look at the site, a little closer detail. You can see there is some townhome development to the south of the larger parcel, and some single-family residences to the south and north. Again, the senior care facilities to the north and east of the site. This is a depiction of the site plan, including not only the subject property, but the larger portion of the larger property, also owned by the applicant, that was part of a project review in 2018. We approved a design review for the 192-unit Golden Lane apartment complex. Since that time, the applicant has secured the property to the northeast of the site and wants to basically integrate it into the existing approval. And to do that, they've had to make some adjustments to the interior access routes and so forth, but the biggest impotence the biggest reason to include the subject property was to just enable expansion of the use. And basically what they've been proposing is a series of 3-story buildings throughout the remainder of the property site. The R4 zoning district would restrict them to 2 stories in height. There's a depiction of the elevation to the bottom of the screen, kind of establishing the, it's a stucco facade with a series of pop-outs and exterior stairways. That was approved in 2018, I believe. And here we have a composite composite site plan of the proposal, noting the access along the west side of 67th Avenue and the 12 3-story apartment buildings, as well as a clubhouse located to the kind of the eastern portion of the site. There is also a revision to the southwest corner to the access, formerly located at the northwest corner as part of the prior design review approval. Above and beyond that, there's really not too much change to the site, just the incorporation of the additional R4 acreage, which is the subject of the request this evening. This is a photograph of the, the northeast corner of the site, looking westward to the east of the right of the screen. You see the Morningstar Senior Living Facility, and the vacant area with the palm trees is the subject site itself. This is the southwest corner of the property, again looking north along 67th Avenue. Looking eastward toward that's the Alice intersection to the left of the screen, and looking toward the memory care facility across 67th Avenue. And looking northward toward, again, the Alice intersection. Once again, the applicant has, that being the city, has mailed notices to the adjacent property owners and other interested parties regarding a neighborhood meeting that was conducted on February the 24th. We've also advertised the request in the Glendale Star, done the postings and the mailings regarding the hearing this evening. The CPP, the Citizen Participation Plan, is also attached for your review. We did not have any participation in the the neighborhood meeting that I'm aware of. Staff finds that the request is consistent with the policies, objectives of the general plan. We believe that approval would encourage development within a portion of the community where infrastructure already exists, and that it's overall compatible with the adjacent facilities and residences. Staff is recommending approval of ZON 21-03, subject to conformance with the following. Number 1, development and substantial conformance to the design review submittal DR 21-03, dated January 18th of 2021, and any revisions required as part of that review. Number 2, staff approval of the site plan revisions in conformance to the building height and setback standards for the R5 zone, and which address all transportation concerns for stacking and turnaround at the entry along 67th Avenue. We're still undergoing some site plan revisions associated with that access at 67th and with the setback on the building that fronts 67th. That'll be part of a design review action. Stipulation number 3, that there be a lot tie which combines both parcels. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my presentation. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to respond.
Commissioners,
Chairman,
Commissioner Wilfong.
part of the design review, is there going to be a deceleration lane off of 67th Avenue into this apartment complex?
A deceleration lane, that's part of the design of the access on 67th.
Is going to be part of the plan?
Yes.
Commissioners, anything else?
Kind of hard to see there.
Well, since the city is the applicant, we're not going to have a representative. Is there anything else, Commissioners? Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak on this?
Mr. Chairman, I would just like to say, thanking the commission for helping us move this project along. We were kind of in a bind at the moment, and George here has done an excellent job of working with the applicant or property owner to get this accomplished, and it's time to have this site developed. So the banking industry that's working with them is also providing great help and giving us a little more time to make it all happen. So it all seems to have worked out, and it was because you moved ahead and took an extra few weeks off of the application. So we really appreciate your help.
Well, I think it's going to be a good project, and it is, I think, very good for the area. So we're glad to do it. Commissioners, anything else?
Oh, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Nowakowski?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to add that bringing in that northeast vacant parcel, good idea, good planning. My thought was that was going to be vacant for a very long time, so I appreciate that coming into play. And then just on the project narrative, it does say the applicant is a Shea Connolly Development LLC. It's kind of confusing when you're looking all over the packet, and it shows different names, the city, the planning commission, the owners, and then the, so just make it easy on council on that. But good plan. I wish the design kind of had more, it's stucco with pop-outs. I wish more flair to it, but you can only see a portion of it from 67th Avenue. It's such a narrow space, so I understand some of that design. Thank you for your time.
Commissioners, anything else? Okay, we'll close the public hearing on case ZON 21-03. It's now closed. Do I hear a motion to approve ZON 21-03 with the 3 stipulations in the staff report?
Chairman?
Commissioner
move.
Nowakowski.
What?
Oh, okay. Commissioner Wilfong.
I move to approve ZON 21-03 with the 3 stipulations.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Commissioner Crowe? Okay, I have a motion to approve, and I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. We'll move to our next agenda item, CUP 20-13, and Ms. Lavelle will do the presentation.
Chair, Commissioners, again, this is Christina Lavelle with the City of Glendale Planning Department. I am the Project Planning Manager for presenting Superstar Car Wash, CUP 20-13. This is a request from Christopher D. Nordstrom, who is the Senior Project Manager of Colley Architects, and he's representing Superstar Car Wash for a conditional use permit to allow a convenience use, the car wash, in the General Commercial Zoning District. This is the vicinity map that shows the where the car wash will be located in relation to City Hall. And I apologize for where City Hall is. It's a little bit skewed. The general plan in this area is planned commercial. Here is an aerial map that shows the project site in relation to all the other uses within this district. As you can see, right across from their access point, there is an existing bank, and this is located in an existing, already built-out Safeway site. This is at the northwest corner of 59th Avenue and Thunderbird Road. Here again, there is the zoning map, which shows the uses within the area. So just to the west and the east of the site, it's zoned general commercial, and to the south, it's zoned general commercial, and then just a little ways off, there is a general office district. So this is a street view of the existing property. This property was recently vacated. This was the site of the Safeway gas station. The gas station vacated, and they have removed all of the fuel tanks, and that has been confirmed in documentation in the staff report. This is a view of the subject property from the access road into the site. This is also a view coming down Thunderbird, looking at the site. I apologize for the blurriness. This is a copy of the site plan that has been proposed. As you can see, the property is going to be the project is going to be accessed off of Thunderbird Road through an interior road inside of the development. The car wash is on the exterior. It's on the eastern portion, and the cars will. They will travel around, the circulation will be around the outer perimeter through the car wash with the proposed vacuum bays in the center of the site. There will be a kind of a one-way in, one-way out situation. This is a proposed elevations for the site, which is pretty standard for this particular, for the Superstar Car Wash franchise. And there was a neighborhood meeting that was held. It was noticed January 12th, 2021, and it was held on January 28th. At that time, the public did not attend, and there were no comments received to staff or to the applicant. The public hearing notification went out February 12th, 2021, and the Glendale Star was advertised on February 11th, 2021, and the site was posted on February 11th, 2021. Staff finds that the request meets the findings for a conditional use permit as required of Section 3.904 of the Glendale zoning ordinance. The analysis, the C2 zoning district allows for convenience uses, which includes car washes, subject to a conditional use permit approval. Car wash in this location is an acceptable land use for the site. It will be aesthetically pleasing, and it will be skillfully oriented to minimize any impacts to surrounding properties or adjacent tenant spaces. The development is oriented towards Thunderbird Road, and it will utilize internal shared access drives and will utilize the circulation within their actual site and should not have an impact on any traffic on Thunderbird Road. There is existing landscaping, but there will also be new landscaping that will be required for a buffer from adjacent properties and the public right-of-way. And there should be no significant impact to the existing on-site traffic from this. The local and regional use of this convenience use operation, subject to a conditional use permit approval, does not materially increase or create an adverse impact to the surrounding property or neighborhood. The underground storage tanks, the fuel tanks, were removed, and this was verified by the State of Arizona Environmental USD Removal Assessment Report, dated February 2nd, 2021, which is included within the staff report. An acoustic analysis was performed of the associated car wash equipment, including the vacuums and blowers. The report verified that the use will not significantly increase the ambient level of noise at the street and at the property line. In addition, there are the nearest residences are over a half-mile away. Finally, all applicable city departments have reviewed the application and have recommend approval of the application. Staff recommends approval of CUP 20-13 subject to the following stipulation. Development shall be in substantial conformance with the site plan dated February 2nd, 2021, and the project narrative dated December 2nd, 2020. And this will be subject to design review approval by the Development Services Department, Planning Department. That concludes my presentation. I will be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Commissioners, any questions for Ms. Lavelle? Looks like you're off the hook. I have no speaker cards, but is there anyone in the audience that would like to address this item?
Commissioner Weedu, this is Chris Norton with Colley Architects, Senior Project Manager. I don't know if you guys can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
We just want to introduce ourselves. I'm like I said, the Senior Project Manager at Colley Architects. We are designing the project that you have seen. We also have Robert Erickson, who's our project director. And also we have Tim Varley and Mark Sunkel from Superstar Car Wash that are online to address any questions that you guys might have. But I do want to make sure that we commend the staff, the City of Glendale Planning Department, on a really great and relatively easy process, not only for the CUP but also the future design review that we're submitting here, hopefully in a few weeks. So we do appreciate that, and that's all I had to add.
Commissioners, any questions? Still no questions. Thank you, sir. Well, I still don't have any speaker cards. So I'm going to close the public hearing on agenda item CUP 20-13. Do I hear a motion for CUP 20-13, including the one stipulation?
Chairman Crow, I move to approve CUP 20-13 as stated.
Twenty 13, yes. Okay. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion to approve, including a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimously approved. Okay, we'll move to item 5, CUP 20-14, and we will hear from Ms. Castaneda.
Afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Chairperson Crow and Commissioners. My name is Jocelyn Castaneda. I am the Planning Project Manager for the proposed Popeyes drive-through, CUP 20-14. The request is for an approval of a conditional use permit for a convenience use, the category in which a drive-through falls within, in the Copper Falls Commercial Center PAD zoning district. The applicant is Mr. Eden Korlick, representing the property owner HZ Props RE Ltd. The following is the vicinity map that shows the location of the proposed drive-through for the Popeyes in relation to City Hall. The general plan designation for this property is planned commercial. The aerial map shows the location of the proposed restaurant, which will be located east of the northeast corner of 95th Avenue and Camelback Road. To the south is single-family residence. To the east is also single-family residence. To the north is multi-family, which is within the same PAD zoning district. And to the west, abutting this property, is an existing car wash, also within the same PAD zoning district. As shown by the zoning map, north and west is within the same PAD. To the south is single family, and to the east is single family as well. This street view photo is showing the currently vacant property, showing to the north the existing multifamily residence. This image is showing to the west the abutting car wash, and this is showing to the south along Camelback Road. This is the site plan. Access to the site will be from Camelback Road to the south of the property, as well as a shared access drive to the north, shared with the car wash to the west. The drive-through will be oriented to the west side of the property. The elevations are showing south and north of the proposed Popeyes. This is also showing the east and the west elevations of the proposed Popeyes. For public involvement, notification letters were sent by the applicant on December 31st, 2020. No comments were received by either myself or the applicant. The public hearing notification was sent on February 12, 2021. It was posted on the Glendale Star on February 11, 2021, and the site was posted on February 17, 2021. Planning staff finds that the request meets the findings for Section 3.904 of the Glendale zoning ordinance. As part of the analysis, the PAD allows all uses subject to a conditional use permit in the C2 General Commercial Zoning District. The C2 district allows for convenience uses, which includes the drive-through, that are subject to a conditional use permit approval. The proposed restaurant with a drive-thru is consistent with the policies of the general plan. Convenience uses other than those permitted in the C2 zoning district are subject to conditional use permit. Further analysis show that there is no significant impact to the existing off-site traffic. The on-site traffic is adequately planned to permit safe and efficient circulation. All the applicable city departments have reviewed the application and have recommended approval of the project. Planning staff recommends the approval of CUP 20-14 subject to the following stipulations: that the development will be in substantial conformance with the site plan and project narrative, both dated February 10, 2021. This concludes my presentation. I'll be more than happy to take any questions.
Commissioners, any questions?
Chairman.
Commissioner Wilfong.
Thank you. This area is real close to the Cardinal stadiums and the other stadiums there during game day. Is this only going to be a right turn exit out of this property, or is it going to be access to a left turn? Because during that kind of traffic time, I could imagine that would be most hazardous.
Let me just take a look at the site plan. No, there is not. There doesn't seem to be an existing median on the street, so there should not be an exit to the left. So it's strictly oriented to the west.
I don't see that anywhere in the plan anywhere. Is that a stipulation that we need to put in place?
I will look forward. I would look. Let me see. I would look into this and I will get back to you. But it seems that the access is through the shared access into there.
Mr. Chairman, if I understand the question correctly, is there left, right, and all movement through this driveway across the street? And your concern is that during game day or any of the types of things that'll happen, that this could become pretty congested at this location?
The concern is that, and I know everybody's seen this, somebody's going to make that left with backed up traffic, and somebody's going to be coming the other way, and they're going to hit in the medium. This is something I think the city should try to avoid.
Okay. I know that the applicant was not able to make it into the in-person meeting, but I think they are within online through the Zoom meeting if they can answer the question.
Well, to take the action, though, this evening, if in fact we approve the access and then we would restrict it later, we'll probably have to pay for that reduction in access. So, and I don't think the applicant was expecting to have it restricted this evening. I don't know, is the applicant on the line?
I don't think this is just a restriction. We're just making the traffic exit right.
Understood, but they're probably thinking they have left turn out of there as well, the way it's shown on the plan.
Yeah, that's exactly the way it's shown on the plan. I'm wondering if we should,
Maybe table this and get
I
this
think we
corrected.
should table this until we get an affirmative answer, and not to put the owner or the developer on the spot. Okay, are you going to do it or are you not right now? He's not prepared, I don't think, or I wouldn't think that he'd be able to answer that yet. And besides, he would have to get with staff and you guys would have to work this all out. So my thought is that we table this unless you have some other idea, Mr. Record.
I don't think that there's any other idea than to check it out, because if in fact there's ultimately a median or something like that planned for that roadway, then this applicant needs to be aware of it now, and we don't put the city in a position of having to debate losing that access, which generally turns into some lawsuits.
Exactly.
So tabling it would be the proper thing to do, and we bring it back your next meeting.
Chairman,
Commissioner Crowe?
just to staff, didn't
If I may
we,
say, if I may say something, and this is the applicant, Ed and Corlick LLC, the architect. So we are on a tight timeline to get this approved, and tabling something like this would cause us a lot of harm. This really didn't come up in really any of the meetings or pre-apps or anything like that, but we were hoping to have full access out of this site, left and right, coming out of the site. I think we're open to suggestions, but I mean, we're talking about game days. You know, I don't follow the 100%. I mean, you have
Tony
you
didn't
have
really have any
police
comments in
and
regards to
other
access.
services that are directing traffic and game days. That's really 8 times a year. Just our position was that we were getting, it was not a right in, right out, that we were actually getting both directions, but we will heed to whatever you guys recommend in order not to table this, because again, we have committed this project to our franchise, and we need to deliver this on time. So if we need to make this a right in, right out, with a vote, we're definitely willing to proceed that route. So I don't know if that makes any sense, but you know, we're already on the docket to get this thing into the speed lane and get it approved as soon as possible. And that was our perception, that this would be, that we were getting full access to the site. But if we have to do a right in and a right out, in order not to table this for a month, we would definitely proceed that way. So.
Chairman,
Commissioner Crowe?
we have staff pull up a bigger overhead view of the surrounding area. Is that possible, so that you could see the streetway? My question is to the
I
other.
don't know if there's a center median somewhere here that we can utilize if we are trying to make this left turn. I feel like that we're pretty far away from the intersection, but again, you know, if there's any way that we don't table this for another month, because that's just gonna put a real mess with our schedule and higher ups.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, just for clarification, we did not have anything from Transportation Department to try to restrict it right in, right out at this point. My other suggestion is, if in fact that's the only concern you have, you could ask for that to be resolved prior to council hearing the actual application.
Well, to address the
That's right,
applicant, I would probably say that, you know, your product is excellent. And I don't think making it a restriction to the right would affect your product. I think it would probably be a lot safer, avoid issues on the street, you know, to avoid this is a congested area, because I live right down the street from it. And there's a Walmart, there's, you know, the games and everything else. And unfortunately, the Arizonans try to make lefts in the worst place possible. Mm-hmm. And I've seen it so many times, and if we can avoid that from happening, which I think part of this is a safety thing, I think we require it to be a right turn only out.
Commissioner Nowakowski?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Adjacent to this property to the west is a car wash, and the driveway to the car wash, which is on the west side of the car wash, oftentimes gets backed up nearly to Camelback and to 95th Avenue, both ways behind I believe it's a Chase Bank at the corner there, 95th and Camelback. And so I foresee that if you do have another left out, you're gonna entice people from the car wash to go onto the Popeyes property to make that left turn. I like Commissioner Wilfong's recommendation because it would kind of entice people to go to 95th Avenue where you do have a signal light if that back access lane is open to this site. So just my thoughts as a resident of the area and representative of the Yucca District, because Camelback, regardless of game day, does get backed up heavily. A lot of construction. We have a super Walmart center there, and like you said, future development coming between Camelback and Cardinals Way along that 95th Avenue. It's going to be very, very crowded. Thank you.
Absolutely. This is Ed again, the applicant. Absolutely. We totally understand. And if the stipulation was to be added that this entrance from the south is made a right turn into the site and right turn out of the site only, we are willing to do that. We agree. Making a left turn would be a safety issue and a safety hazard out of the development. And like you said too, we've got other options. I mean, we're connected to the site to the west, so the traffic can circulate. And I know, like you said, people tend to make wrong decisions. So we don't want to encourage that for 100%. So if you guys make a stipulation to approve this, we will certainly follow that case, and you will see plans that are finished having a ride in and ride out only from the south. Thank you.
Now, do we need to craft that, Mr. Gruber or Mr. Record, any specific language so that we've got that correct?
Mr. Chairman, I believe that needs to be stated as a separate stipulation as part of the approval.
Right, but as far as the language of the stipulation, do we just need to say that it's stipulated that the south entrance is a right in, right out?
Correct, and the proper street configuration or improvements to the right-of-way so that it causes that to happen. So
that would be the language you're looking for?
That's what you're looking for, okay.
Yes.
I think I can state it on the record that the access to the site from the south be limited to left and right, in and out only, and that there be a street...
No, right only, right in, right out.
Excuse me, right in, right out, that's correct. And then there be structure, concrete, any form of street type of...
altercation?
Facilities put in the right-of-way to cause that to happen.
You want to say that one more time for the record?
Yeah. If in fact it doesn't come out correctly, you can correct it in the minutes the next time around, and we'll get the right exact language, but that's basically what you want is right in, right out.
Yeah, the second stipulation would be that it's a right in and right out, and that the appropriate configuration of the entrance, the road, sidewalk, curb, be part of that.
Will be designed in a way to make that happen.
To make it happen.
Chairman, I think Commissioner Novak-Housing, I agree. I think a left in would be acceptable, okay, because you're not putting something in hazard there. You can see the traffic coming with you. The left coming out is the hazard.
Mr. Chair.
I had it right the first time.
You did. So we're going to go left in, but right only out.
Yes, right only exit, because if you do restrict right in only, vehicles traveling eastbound on Camelback would be cutting through the car wash and would be going behind the Chase.
Or
and
making
the
a
car
U-turn.
wash. Or making U-turns, yes.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Ruckert, then what we're going to do is we're going to stipulate that it be a right in or left in, but a right exit only. And that the appropriate adjustments to the roadway are part of that stipulation.
Understood. And
Okay.
we'll bring it back as part of the minutes
Yes.
to ensure that you get the ideas in the process and it doesn't hold the applicant up.
Okay, commissioners.
Chair, members of the commission, and can we confirm that the applicant is okay since it was revised slightly?
Is the applicant still online?
Yes, yes, sir.
Are you okay with that?
We are okay with that. Yes, sir.
Okay, I have
Commissioners,
no,
if I may,
yes.
this is Tim Varley with Superstar Car Wash. So the applicant is to the east of our property, and we would like to have you guys approve this conditionally, and we are willing to talk to the Popeyes group to allow for some possible cross-access, anything to reduce the traffic onto Thunderbird Avenue. And so we would like to support the approval of the planning commission tonight for Popeyes while we work in tandem with them to possibly look at a cross access or some other way to alleviate the problems we have there with the injection of their traffic onto the street.
Okay, thank you, sir. Appreciate that. We can't get involved in that deal between the two property owners, but it's good to know. Does the representative or the owner have anything else to say, and do they agree with our two stipulations?
We agree with the stipulations. Thank you.
Okay, is anybody else in the audience that would like to speak on this issue? Any further questions for Ms. Castaneda?
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Vice Chair Nyberg.
I'm wondering if there was some circumstance that prevented the applicant from attending their hearing tonight in person. I mean, I think that we're here to hear their request, and I think it's incumbent upon an applicant to be present at their hearing in person.
If I could speak on that. The applicant is currently located in Missouri, and due to COVID, they wanted to limit any traveling if they could. They also had have a representative here that lives in Arizona, but as well wanted to also apply quarantine and, if there was any other way for them to attend. So we gave them the option to attend virtually.
Thank you.
Commissioners, anything else? Okay, I'll close the public hearing at this time. Do I hear a motion including the two stipulations?
Chairman, I recommend to approve motion CUP 20-14 with the one stipulation stated in the proposal and the second stipulation presented by the commission.
And another note on that, Commissioner Wolfong. I'm so used to calling on Commissioner Nowakowski. Okay. And that'll come out in the minutes, and we can have a chance to review that. And at that time, if it's not exactly what we all thought it would be, we'd have a chance to change it at that time. Is that all right with all the commissioners? Okay, we have everybody agrees with that. So I'm going to call for all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're very welcome. We appreciated your input. It was nice for you to be here. We were able to move forward on that.
Thank you, and hopefully for the 4th Glendale project, I will be there in person when this pandemic is over. I'm really looking forward to it, and we're very thankful, and we love the city of Glendale, and just very glad to be a part of it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. That looks like it. Mr. Rickard, is there any other business this evening?
We have one item remaining, which is the Western Animal Hospital conditional use permit, item number 6. You not have it in your packet?
I do not.
Oh, geez.
Wow, my packet had 5 items in it.
If I might, this is a really good request. Hopefully we didn't miss that for you, but we can be reasonably quick with it, and Christine will take you through this one too. But it's good use of this corner.
Okay, it will be presented by Ms. Lavelle again.
Good evening, Chairperson Crow and Commissioners. Again, my name is Christina Lavelle, and I'm the Planning Project Manager who has reviewed the Western Veterinary Hospital CUP 21-01. This is a request from Catalin and Pechu of Western Animal Hospital for a conditional use permit to allow a veterinary clinic without boarding in the commercial office zoning district. This is a vicinity map showing the location of the Western Animal Hospital in relation to City Hall. The general plan designation for this property is office. This is an aerial map of the subject property. It just shows one portion of the property, actually. There's a secondary portion, as you can see, to the west. Access to this site will be off of Northern Avenue and 51st Avenue, and then it is difficult to see, but there is a side street, which is Sands Road. The zoning of this property is commercial office. To the direct east of the property, it's zoned R16. To the east, across 51st Avenue, it's zoned planned area development. And to the north, across Northern, it's zoned commercial, general commercial. So here's a street view from Sands Road, which shows the access into the site. Here's another street view. This is going east down Northern, which shows just the access point to the site. This is the site plan that shows the subject property. The property itself is fully developed. There is no, there will be no exterior changes to the property. There will be no expansion of the footprint. The applicant will only be getting the conditional use to use the tenant space. In addition, as you can see in the lower left-hand corner, the applicant has provided just a parking study to just show that they have adequate parking at the facility. This is a floor plan of the property. This is the tenant space that the applicant will be using. The applicant had a neighborhood meeting. The notification went out on January 10th. The neighborhood meeting was not attended by any of the residents in the neighborhood, nor by any of the other tenant owners, and no comments were received to staff or to the applicant regarding the proposal. The public hearing notification went out February 2nd. It was posted in the Glendale Star on February 11th, and the site was posted February 11th. Staff finds that the request meets the findings for a conditional use permit as required of Section 3.904 of the Glendale zoning ordinance. In analysis, the on-site access, landscaping, and parking are adequate to accommodate the proposed use of a veterinary clinic. The hours of operation are within business hours, which are 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday through Saturday, and are consistent with the commercial office zoning district, the hours. The applicant will be providing an air filtration system to be installed to mitigate any offensive odors to neighboring properties and most specifically to other tenants in the tenant spaces adjacent to them. The veterinary clinic will not board animals as required of Section 5.534C of the Glendale zoning ordinance. Finally, all of the applicable city departments have reviewed this application and recommend approval of the application. Staff recommends approval of CUP 21-01 with the following stipulations. Development shall be in substantial conformance with the site plan dated January 25th, 2021, and the project narrative dated January 12th, 2021. An air filtration system to mitigate offensive odors shall be installed prior to obtaining final certificate of occupancy. That concludes my presentation. I will be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Commissioners.
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Cole?
Well, thank you for your presentation. More a comment than a question. The project narrative from the applicant has a concerning statement in there, as far as I'm concerned, about 5110 West Northern Avenue. And I would just like to go on the record that I'm certainly hoping that the building safety and fire inspections are up to date on those properties. The applicant's basically saying they're leaving their existing business, which they've been in for years. That's pretty close to my neighborhood. And the reason they cite is that the landlord has poor management over the shopping center and the building structure is degrading, making almost impossible to maintain a safe work environment for staff and customers. That's just not something you usually see in a project narrative, and I really have concerns over the condition of 5110 West Northern. So thank you for indulging me on that.
Commissioners, anything else?
Chairman, what's the tenant use to the adjoining suite? Do we know?
These are office spaces, and they are. There is two adjoining suites. One is vacant, and one is a medical office.
Okay, so it's possible that that is the reason that there wasn't anybody that came to the issue. Was there any discussion about sound mitigation? You addressed offensive odors, but did you address sound?
I actually did not address sound, and that's something that we could potentially stipulate if that's something you would choose to go forward with.
You ever been in an office next to a barking dog?
Not good. Do you want to you think we should do that? Is that what you're saying?
I just was wondering what staff's opinion of that is.
Okay, come on up. Did you fill out a speaker card? Oh, you're the applicant. Good, okay. Sir, could you give your name and address, please?
Yes, my name is Calvin Tatku, 5125 West Christie Drive, Glendale, 85304.
Thank you, sir.
So we were in 5110, the southwest corner of the intersection since 1991. And because the situation with the building, we elected to move across the street. It's the southeast corner. The entire building was vacant when we applied with the landlord. So they were vacant for about 3 years, all 3 suites. So we were the first one to get approved by the landlord. After we got approved on the suite number 3, there was it's a lab. It's not really a medical office, it's a laboratory. So they actually came after us. They rented the space after we got in there. And the suite 2 is still vacant. I think the landlord had a hard time finding tenants in that specific corner. We were the first ones to get approved by the landlord there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Are you planning sound mitigation? I won't stipulate it. I don't have a problem with that. I was just letting you know it might be, if you're doing tenant improvements, it might be a whole lot more expensive to do it after the fact than upfront. So
Yeah,
just
no,
something to
I
consider.
understand.
Are you okay with that, Commissioner Crowe? Commissioners, anything else?
Chairman, I would just simply say if the Suite 2 becomes occupied, I don't think it would be fair for them to soundproof. I mean, I don't know how that would be affected by the landlord, or could we put it in somewhere saying that, he does not have to improve if Suite 2 is occupied?
Well, I don't think we can do that. I don't think that's legal. We can't stipulate that that the new person and the owner can't require something or get into a conversation with an existing tenant. I don't think we have the authority to do that. Now, if you want to stipulate something now, well, before we approve this and make it part of the stipulation, that's one thing, but I don't think we can come in after the fact legally and tell them what to do with their property. Mr. Gruber.
Chair, members of the commission, yes, that's a correct statement, and in conjunction with the applicant as well, I would recommend treading carefully when you begin to talk about regulating matters that are essentially between a landlord and adjacent tenants.
Right. Commissioners, anything else? Anything else, sir?
I just want to thank you, the planning and the council, for all the help. Everything went smooth, and we were very happy with their help.
Okay. I don't have any speaker cards, but just to make sure, is there anybody in the audience that would like to contribute anything else? Okay, hearing none and seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing on case CUP 21-04. Do I hear a motion for CUP 21-01? Sorry about that. And with the 2 stipulations in the staff report.
Chairman, I move to approve CUP 21-01 with the following 2 stipulations.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes unanimously. Now, Mr. Breckert, do we have anything
no other
further?
items.
Okay. Okay. Anything from the commission? You guys have anything to say? Anything you'd like to see on the next meeting, the next workshop? Any input? We're tired. Okay. All right. We will call the meeting adjourned.
Thank you.